Hey, Hawkeye fans, welcome back. Well, we are fresh off of a bye week and we're headed into taking on Ohio State at Ohio State. We're going to get into that preview, but before that, we've got a very special guest that we get to sit down and interview. It is Rhys Dakin. We cannot wait for you to hear this conversation. Thanks for coming back. This is Talkin Hawks presented by Hills Bank.
No matter where you are in life, Hills Bank is here to help you succeed.
Whether you're buying your first house, saving for your child's future, or preparing for retirement, you can count on the people at Hills Bank for the support you need to reach your goals.
It's easy to connect with a banker in person, over the phone, or on hillsbank.com.
Because we believe banking is better through human connection.
Hills Bank is an equal housing lender and FDIC member.
Hey, Matt.
Hello.
How's it going?
God is good.
You are coming off of a homecoming game with Solon.
Yeah.
How was it?
We won. Great.
I feel like you could say that almost every week. Solon is so good.
5 straight games we can.
That's great. It was a bye week for Iowa, so I feel like that's the only thing that I kind of have to talk about.
I mean, the Big Ten.
I know, but I didn't really watch any of it. I caught like glimpses of the Illinois-Penn State game that you had on Saturday night. And aside from that, the kids and I actually lasted until the third quarter on Friday night. I have some regrets about that because they're still tired.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
That's fair.
But it was kind of nice. Saturday, we had a little family day, spent some time at the pumpkin patch. And I will say, it's a fall activity, but when it's 80 degrees and the sun is so intense.
You feel like falling down that giant hill.
100%. We went to Wilson's Orchard, which is just lovely. It's a great place, but it is quite the trek. Like you're walking.
Yeah.
I felt like we were like kind of in the middle of a workout.
I wish Dax would have had a Fitbit to know how many little steps he had to take.
How many steps he took. And he did carry up a little pumpkin up that big hill, like halfway.
I think
up
that was
hill.
even big. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a good size. And I had to carry Blair's.
But it was nice to have a little Saturday that we actually got to hang out as a family.
I
We
agree.
worked for a little bit, but then after that,
Yeah, then it was time to go.
then we got to hang. So it was good. Anything of note with the Big Ten that you want to note?
Minnesota had almost the comeback of the year against Michigan. Scored 21 points in the fourth quarter. Still ended up coming up slightly short. I believe it was 27-24. So they really made a charge. We'll talk about the Ohio State-Michigan State game when we go to the preview for Ohio State. But that game's closer than what that score indicates. And then the Illinois-Penn State game was something that I was really looking forward to, mainly because Illinois was really riding high. Just couldn't find their footing in Penn State. And I mean that both figuratively and literally.
Yeah. Well, was it raining there?
It had to have been raining there for a little bit.
At some point.
But there were guys slipping and sliding all over the place.
You mentioned that their field, Penn State's field, always looks just like a little bit rough.
It just always looks a little wet. Like I feel like everybody over there is slipping and sliding.
They just water it a little bit.
Jennings would love it.
Oh, we haven't gotten to that yet.
I don't know that yet.
Matt.
Am I giving away guests?
Yeah, you are. Because this last week, since it was the bye week, we were able to have in a few different guests that we got to interview ahead of time. Because it is hard to get the guys to come in on Sundays.
Which makes sense.
Which is what we did last season. We would have them, like we only did it on like our interviews on Sundays after games.
And then our incredible production team put it out Monday morning.
Literally would edit it and turn it around. John and Matthew, Storyline Multimedia.
And James was here at that time.
Yeah. But they would turn it around Sunday night after we would like do the interview at like 5:30 after the guys got out of their meetings, turn it around and put it out on Monday morning at like 5 a.m. every single week. So this week we're like, maybe we should work smarter, not harder, even though we're doesn't matter, working the same amount, but also working smarter.
Just divvying it up.
Yeah. But trying to get some stuff done ahead of time. So then we have kind of all of that stuff ready because when guys are coming back from, let's just say Ohio State on a Saturday, what time's the game? 2:30? Yeah,
yes.
A 2:30 game. They get back pretty late. The last thing they want to do on a Sunday is come in and do something like this because they're trying to rest up and all those things. And usually meetings get pushed back on Sundays. All of this to say, during the bye week, we took some time and had some guys come in and sat down and did some phenomenal interviews, one of which we literally cannot stop talking about. So I can't wait for that one to go out.
I'm still mind blown.
Because it was just
know that Jennings Dunker has range. Just know that.
As interesting as his hair and his mustache, as interesting as his look is, his mind matches it. And I mean that in the nicest way possible.
Yes.
He is a very interesting person. So
he's great.
Anyway, and then we had, who else did we have? Rhys. And then we've got another one coming in today. It's just so busy. It's great. It's so exciting.
It's nice having so many guys on.
It is, because there's so many stories and so many great things to be told about these football players that are also just happen to be regular old people too. It's very exciting. Okay, so obviously coming off of a bye week, we don't really have an unsung hero. So Matt, who is your unsung hero?
Well, unsung hero brought to you by JB Roofing. I feel like it's got to be the athletic training staff.
Okay.
Keeping guys healthy, keeping guys rolling. That's one of the nice things about everybody we've had on. They walk in just fine, walk out just fine. And I'm sure that's plenty of time spent in the training room, whether it be the hot tub, cold tub, the pool, just getting some movement going, doing some extra posterior chain work, making sure the hamstrings, glutes, all that kind of stuff is firing so they're ready to go rock. But those guys put in a ton of hours, a ton of hours. I don't think I can actually fathom how much those guys are in the complex. It's probably similar to that of a coach, maybe slightly less, but they're there a ton. So shout out to them for making sure our guys are ready to go each and every Saturday.
Very good. The athletic training staff, the unsung hero, brought to you by JB Roofing. Okay, well, we don't really have too much to recap this week, so we're just going to jump right into an interview with Rhys Dakin. We'll be right back.
From down under.
Need a new roof, gutter, or siding in Eastern Iowa? Call JB Roofing and Construction, the local and reliable roofer with over 20 years of experience. They do one roof at a time, unlike others who juggle multiple projects and cut corners. They also serve a 45-mile radius around Kelowna and help you with any insurance claims. Don't wait. Call 319-656-ROOF or visit their website, jbroofingkelowna.com, for a free estimate. JB Roofing and Construction, the small-town roofer you can trust. Matt, did you know that Iowa City Tire does more than just tires?
Well, yeah. I mean, they've been servicing vehicles in the corridor for like 40 years.
Right, but did you really know that before someone had to tell you?
No.
Check out how they're doing things in a very different way at Iowa City Tire and Service, where service actually comes first.
The Appliance Barn offers a wide range of high-quality appliances at unbeatable prices.
Whether you're in the market for a new refrigerator, dishwasher, or washing machine, they've got you covered.
They also have a delivery and setup department to ensure your appliances get delivered and installed quickly. To find out more, visit appliancebarn.com.
All right, well, we are so excited to have another Aussie in the studio. Everyone, please welcome Rhys Dakin. Rhys, how's it going?
It's going great. Yep.
Good. Well, when Tori was here last year, I introduced him and I said, Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi. And
Don't do that, please.
He literally, 5 minutes in, he was like, it's so cringe when people do that. And I was like, I just did that.
Yeah,
so I made sure I didn't do that for you.
Thank you.
Why does that bother you so much?
I mean, it's just what you guys do. No one does it in Australia, you know?
Seriously?
No,
It's literally just an American thing?
I think so. I don't know where it came from, but yeah, Drew said he's going to do it. He used to do it for Tori in the stands and get everyone to say it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just can't imagine it like more off-putting thing. Like, you know, I'm just not expecting it. Like, it makes me cringe, you know?
That is so funny. I wonder where we got that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Huh.
I mean, I know people do it maybe in the stands in Australia, but I mean, I've only heard it over here. So
that's a little
We're going to have to cut that out of our vocabulary now.
Yeah, no kidding. Never again. Interesting. Okay, well, thanks for coming in.
No, thanks for having me.
We appreciate you taking the time. You just had a fantastic game versus Minnesota. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah. How has it been? I mean, I guess was that your first away game?
The first away game, yeah.
And how did it feel being outside of Kinnick Stadium?
You know, I was a bit more nervous coming, like, you know, I know people would probably be giving me a bit more heat, you know, than Kinnick.
Right.
But like, you know, I went out there, you know, I look around my teammates, you know, we all got each other, and I went out there, I felt fine. Like, it was a good experience. It obviously helped knowing Mark Crawford, the other punter. So, you know, he gave me a couple words pre-game, and that sort of, you know, let me ease into it. Yeah, before the game, I was pretty nervous the night before. You know, I didn't really know what the atmosphere would be like. But, I mean, I had my family there as well. I had my dad and one of my other relatives. And, yeah, it was a really good experience to sort of see the other side of things. And, yeah, it's good to experience it, yeah.
That's awesome. So you said you knew the other punter?
Yeah.
He's like 30, right?
He's 30, yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, that's got to be like the most interesting experience, being a 30-year-old hanging out with like a ton of college students who are like 20 years old like you.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, I know.
How often do you talk to him? Are you guys close, or is it just kind of like you just know each other?
I met him for Tori's draft party
Okay.
a few months ago, and you know, we got along real well. He's a really cool dude. Yeah, we had a good chat, and then obviously knew we were going to be playing each other this year. So I got his contact, and then we started, you know, talking, and then, you know, giving each other heat a couple of days ago.
Okay.
Yeah, and so, you know, we met out in the field. You know, had a couple good chats. Yeah, I had known about him through Pro Kick because, you know, we know all of the guys over here.
I was just going to ask that. Like,
Yeah.
it seems like most of the punters, it's like you have your own team, obviously, that you're with, but because you're all coming from Australia through the Pro Kick, right? Is that what it's called?
Pro Kick.
That like you kind of still know everybody.
Mhm.
So like even though you're competing against one another, you can still kind of have that camaraderie.
Yeah, and they want you to know everyone because, you know, you might be replacing this guy. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, and
thought about it like that.
we are expected to watch the game film as well. And I think we have to make up a chart of, you know, where's this guy go? How many years of eligibility has he got left, and sort of work it out.
Through Pro Kick?
Through Pro Kick, yeah. It's just something
Interesting.
you can do to like sort of learn more about it. But yeah, you're expected to know all the as many punters as you know, as you can find out, and just sort of know more
That's
about
wild.
you know, who you might be replacing, and just know more about like who's doing what.
Mhm.
And then, you know, watch the games and watch the film, watch what they do. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. We had Coach Woods on at the beginning of the year. If you haven't checked it out, go look at it. He talked about how Pro Kick sometimes know about your punting situation, meaning college's punting situation, better than even the colleges do.
Yeah.
And like that kind of resonates to that point of like, hey, we're going to know exactly how many years of eligibility these guys have. You're going to punt like this. This is the style. Like it's really interesting to know that there's that much of a stronghold, I guess, in Australia for punters coming over.
Yeah, Pro Kick do an awesome job of figuring out, you know, which school suits you best. I'm really appreciative that they've placed me here. Like I love it here. I couldn't be more happier with the coach that I've got and teammates. But yeah, they're awesome. Like the success that they produce each year with sending guys over, I think it gets bigger every year with guys coming over. So yeah, they're doing a spectacular job of, you know, sending people to the school that fits their kick best and even their personality as well. So yeah, I think they're doing a great job.
And I think it's cool that it's transcended just college. So obviously, you know, Tory Taylor we're a little biased, right? We like Tory, but the fact that like, so I was more of like a spread punt, rugby style to a point, right? Whereas pro style, only two gunners go. Like it's a very different style of punt, and it's nice to know that that's continuing regardless of the style of punt. So although Pro Kick might be able to hook you up best in college, it's nice to know that it can still go to the league with that style.
Yep. I actually like spiraling more than I do the rugby. I haven't had too my first game. I had two rugbies. My first punt was a rugby. I didn't really like it. I like to sort of just walk straight and you know, kick it as hard as I can. That's just like something that I like to do rather than, you know, roll out. I actually find it boring rolling out. You know, I like the feeling of, you know, kicking a big ball and seeing it turn over. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's pretty when it's spiraling down and you get the turnover.
Yeah. So rolling out just sort of seems a little boring to me where, you know, I could just roll out, hit a 45-yarder, he'll fair catch it. You know what I mean? So it's just like,
I love it.
I just like to walk straight, hammer ball. It's just something that I've sort of been, you know, and coach knows that. Like my last night, you know, I only hit spirals. The game before that, I maybe hit one pooch, the end over end, and then the rest of spirals. So yeah, like I can fall back on the rollout if I want to, but you know, I feel like as a team, we can get more out of kicking a spiral. You know, more yardage and more opportunity for the punter to muff the punt returner to muff the punt. So yeah, I think it's
and better hang time and things like that too.
Yeah,
right?
so it's better. It's better for the game. I know Tory was sensational at the rollout and the pooch. So it's definitely not something that I'm gonna use it more often. I'm gonna try and use it more often in the right positions of the game. But yeah, it's something I can always fall back on. But yeah, I like just spiraling really.
Cool. Well, okay, we're going to come back to Pro Kick here in just a little bit,
Mhm.
but I kind of want to go like all the way back. So when you were a kid, kind of like how you got involved with being a punter and
Yeah.
all of those types of things. So just kind of going back to there. First of all, where in Australia are you from? Not that I'm going to know what that looks like,
Yep.
but where exactly are you from?
From Melbourne,
Okay.
or as you call it, Melbourne. So
I would never.
I said that off air, but now I'm questioning everything I say.
No, I know. So judgmental.
You're from that place that's over there. Just
Yeah.
leave it like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, grew up in the suburbs, sort of southeast of Melbourne. It's in like 30 minutes from the city. My dad grew up on a farm, so we'd go back and forth from the farm.
So you really do fit into the Iowa culture.
Yeah, in a way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was a cattle farm,
Mhm.
not so much corn.
Better.
But yeah, I mean, had a pretty good upbringing with my parents. And
Any
then
siblings?
I got one younger brother. Yeah, he's 17. He was actually here a couple of weeks ago. Came to the Iowa State game.
Mhm.
So yeah, and then grew up playing Australian rules football. That was at the age of 9, and then played a bit of cricket, basketball. I actually had more aspirations in basketball as a young kid than I did pro Australian football. And then I sort of figured out like, I got more of a chance in Australian football. So, I played Australian football for about 12 years until the age of 18, 19. And then battling a couple injuries in the last year of my career in Australian football. So when I was 18, I didn't know anything about the punting program. And then I sort of started seeing some things on Instagram of Pro Kick. I saw their Instagram page and then saw some glimpses of, Australian punters over here. And my mum had always knew about the punting. Like she said to me, "Oh, like you could try this some punting, like be a punter," because she's from America. She's from she went to Northern Arizona University. She was born in Arizona. So she has the links to it. But yeah, so I've actually visited over in Arizona to see my grandparents, and I can't remember who was it, but one of my family members had told me like, oh, there's a, you could try, you could go into this little kicking coaches and sort of see who, like, if you have the ability to go and punt. And so I went down to they call it Arizona Kicking Training. And so I went down there. It was in Phoenix, so like 2-hour drive. My grandpa drove me down there with my dad. So we met those guys, and they said I had a little kick and went out into the open field, and they said, yeah, you've got the leg for like Division 1, and you can go back down to Australia and train with Pro Kick, or Punt Factor is the other option. And so yeah, I went with Pro Kick and trained for about a year, and ups and downs, but got to the ability to where I was ready to be recruited. And then a couple of weeks later, I was over in Iowa.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I had no idea that your mom was from America.
Yeah. She's from Northern Arizona, so just near Flagstaff.
Gotcha.
So
how did her and your dad meet?
Mum was visiting down in Australia, and then I'm pretty sure she stayed just from meeting my dad. So
what a dream. Wow.
Yeah. So I guess it might sort of be an opposite for me over here.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so that'd be funny. But yeah, I mean, she's I got like heaps of cousins out here, and my grandparents, a lot of aunties and uncles as well. It's almost like a second home. Like in spring, I went over to Arizona and then saw my auntie, my uncle, and cousin, grandparents. So that's something Tori didn't have, and he like that's something that I feel like I can utilize as if I ever feel homesick. I can jump over 2-hour flight, 3-hour flight, and sort of feel a bit better, feel at home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was it scary that initial time that you came over? Like, what were the thoughts of like, all right, I mean, if you already had kind of that basis, like you said, homesick, did it ease that first transition away from your parents and away from Australia?
Yeah. And, it was good to think that, if anything went wrong, my auntie, my uncle, my grandparents will be there for me, and, they can get over here as soon as possible. And it wouldn't have to be a 20-hour flight.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh my goodness. 20-hour flight. That's crazy. So you said that you said cricket, basketball.
Yep.
And then question, Australian rules football. So I think we went through this with Tori, just like on how everything works. I definitely don't have that still in my head from last season. So I want to make you do that. But what was your position?
In Australian rules football?
Yeah. Like what did you do?
So I played forward.
Okay.
So generally the half forward is centre half forward. So you've got the full forward, who's the guy who's right next to the goal square. I don't know if you've seen I don't know if Tori went through the positions or like.
He did not go through positions.
There's oval shaped field. And so you've right on the bottom of the oval, you got the full forward, and then sort of like a third of the way up, that's where I'd be. So you've got the centre and then the full forward. In between that, there's where I played. So generally, like, I could kick it far enough to where I could score, but I could also run up and down to sort of take, catch the football, mark the football.
So are you climbing up on top of people's backs to catch it?
I try to, yeah. I love doing that. Yeah, jumping up and catching it. So, generally being a bit taller, so I could outmark some other players who are shorter, and so running up and down the field, I was a bit fitter, and a lot of moving side to side, and then sort of working it away to the full forward, or if I was close enough, I could kick the goal. That's pretty much it.
Gotcha. That's so interesting. You are much taller in person than I thought you were.
Really?
Yeah. Don't you think?
It might be the shoes, but
maybe.
Tori made me feel small, and then you walked in, made me feel small. I was like, there's no way that everybody from Australia that's kicking is this tall.
Yeah. I mean, my dad was 6'2", and mum was 5'9". I got a tall family. All my uncles are huge.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's in the genes. So then cricket and basketball.
Well, let's talk about cricket real quick. Yeah. Can you take us through, we talked a little bit off air about it, but can you like break down like what cricket is? Like, I know that you pitch, and it's the very basic Neanderthal Matt Vandenberg mind is it's kind of like baseball, but there's a lot of differences.
Yeah. So when you pitch in cricket, it has to, well, it doesn't necessarily have to hit the ground, but it's a lot easier to hit the ball if it's on the full, it's up there and it doesn't bounce. But typically a good ball hits the ground, and you want to try and hit the stumps, which is like those wickets behind the batsman. I guess it'd be similar to hitting the box in baseball.
Like the strike zone.
Strike zone, yeah.
Okay.
And so if you hit those stumps, that batsman's out for the rest of the game.
Rest of the game.
Yeah, so no coming back in.
High stakes.
Yeah, so in the league that I played in, there's 50 overs, so 1 over is 6 balls.
What's an over?
Math of that, but so there's two innings of 50 overs, and that's the game.
Is an over the same as like an out for us?
An over is 6 balls.
Just 6 throws?
Yep.
Okay.
And we use a pretty squared up bat, and it's a lot heavier than a base bat. I haven't properly held a base bat, but I think it'd be a lot heavier than a base bat.
And they look a lot longer than from what I can tell.
Yeah.
The cricket bat does.
Yeah. And obviously we wear pads on our legs because the ball is pretty heavy compared to a baseball. So, you cop one in the shin, it's gonna put a bruise there, and it's gonna be sore for a week.
Right.
But so pads, helmet. It's almost like a football helmet actually. And so if you hit it, you can hit it over the boundary. That's 6 points. If you hit it along the ground and it hits the boundary, it's 4 points. And if you hit it and it goes to, I don't know, in midfield, you can quickly, one run. And it's a game of runs, like up and down. Up and down is 2, and just up is 1.
Okay.
So, and if you hit the boundary and it's 4, you don't have to run. Like
you just give 4. That's the way it is.
You get 4 straight on the board. And if you hit it up and then the fielding team catches it, then you're out.
And they don't have gloves or anything, right?
The fielding team, no.
Yeah, they just have their hands.
Just hands, yeah.
Okay. Trying to wrap my head around all that.
Yeah.
Even when I talk football, it normally goes like that with her. So
a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit, Okay, and then basketball. I'm gonna ask a really stupid question.
You're right.
Australian basketball, same as American?
Same.
Exact same. Okay. And then what was your position with that?
I think I'd classify myself as a point guard growing up.
Okay.
facilitator.
Facilitator, yeah. Like I could shoot. That's really all I could dribble and shoot, and I could pass. So
Okay.
point guard, shooting guard. And then I grew, and then that's sort of where I started. I don't really know what I played. Like we didn't sort of have, you're the point guard, you're the shooting guard, you're the center. It was just sort of, line up with whoever.
Sure.
But yeah, like I could rebound pretty good, like timing of jump. So I'd say I'd probably played small forward. I don't really know. I couldn't shoot anymore once I grew. I couldn't dribble as good either.
At least you're honest.
I mean, yeah. And then I was good at driving in and hitting the layup in contact. I don't know. Yeah.
A little bully ball.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm really just trying to scout out. We had was it Mason that we talked about having the charity basketball thing?
Yeah, we had Mason Richmond last week.
Yeah.
And okay, so it's become this like theme that everybody on the football team thinks they can play basketball. Okay.
I've heard about that.
Yeah, no, like everybody's like, oh no, it's me. Like I'm the best in the offensive line. Oh no, it's me. I'm the best on the defensive side of the ball. Like it just on and on. So have you played like at the rec with those guys?
I haven't.
Okay.
I have been trying to sort of figure out, times and whatnot. I don't think they know I can play basketball. So
Okay.
A little dark horse coming out of the corner here.
I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely not as good as I was. I haven't picked up a basketball in
You'd be surprised, man.
Yeah, but I mean, chuck me out there and give me a shot.
That's funny. Well, we were talking to Mason and we're like, so many guys think that they can play basketball. We should have like a low stakes, like fundraiser, all-star basketball game.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Like we're not playing defense. Like we don't have to like really get in.
Mason said he's not playing defense. Yeah. He's like, I'll stay underneath the hoop. You just launch it to me. I'll cherry pick all day long.
Yep. No big deal. So yeah, that might be in the works. We'll give you a call if it.
Oh, sounds good.
If it ever comes to fruition. Right. Oh, that's awesome.
We're going to hold off on the cricket one, but we'll go with basketball.
We'll get there eventually. How did you get involved? Like with Pro Kick, like do you have to what's the word? Like try out kind of thing? Or how does that work?
So you like getting contact with them and organize a time to sort of go and do a little tryout, or like they see, how far you can cue ball, how high. They basically just, scout you. And then
is it just you, or is it like, okay, we're going to take these 5 guys and then we're going to assess all 5, or it's like you're going out by yourself for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, whatever it is?
My situation, I just rocked up to a practice. And sort of, I think it was like I just got sort of threw in there, and then I was catching the ball from the jugs. Like the jugs is the thing that spits it out, and then sort of just try and kick it as far and high as you can, and then
you just walked up to a practice.
Yeah.
You didn't like call anybody, be like, "Hey, I'm gonna come." Like,
oh no, I
was gonna say, there's got to be something.
Yeah.
Got in contact. I was like, the amount of confidence that would take him to just show up to practice and be like, "I'm just gonna go."
Yeah, no. So I got in contact with Chappie, and it was only like 20 minutes away from where I lived, which is I didn't even, like I'd driven past that area. I didn't think that they'd be there,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so. Got in contact with Chappie, gave me all the details of where and what time, and rocked up to practice, chucked on me footy boots, and
for those of you that are listening, sorry, footy boots are kind of cleats that they wear. They just call them boots.
Yeah. Or cleats, whatever you say.
I'm just helping out the rest of if they don't know that they're boots.
Yeah. And so chucked on the cleats, the boots, and gave it a crack. I think I was pretty natural at it. I turned over a couple balls. I had a decent kick in footy. So, and I was looking around. I thought I was doing okay. So, turned out, I was good enough. And then, talked to my dad and, confirmed with Chappie that, this is something I want to do. And then, away we go.
So outside of Iowa, was there any other schools that were looking at you at the time, or was Pro Kick just like, by the way, Iowa's going to be the one and that's it?
Yeah.
Because I really don't know how that works.
There's schools that get rumored to you. There's nothing really like, we don't speak to the school directly.
Okay.
It's all through Johnny and Chappie and Tim. Yeah, I mean, there was rumors that I might go to Auburn. Oscar Chapman, who the punter is there, came down. I was getting some film with him.
Okay.
I think he ended up staying another year, this year with Auburn.
Okay.
So I think that put it through the doors. And then I kicked in front of TCU. I've kicked in front of Ole Miss. There's coaches that come down to scout, but nothing confirmed or like you might go here. Like it's sort of just you trying to compete for it.
So Iowa was the only one that really put their foot forward that said, "Hey."
I think how it went down is Tori came down to visit training. I don't really. I didn't hear anything about it. I must have had a good day on the day that he came down. So I think he went back to Coach Woods, said, this is your guy. Like, I think he'll be a really good fit here. And then,
wow.
Coach Woods came into contact with Johnny, and run it through Johnny. It was all good. And then, yeah, like he wanted to get to know me and call me and to have a chat. And then I woke up one day and my coach said, give me a call. Miss Johnny, my pro kick coach. And so I called him and, he's like, you're going to Iowa. Like, that's just the sort of person he is. Like, he's very, set in stone, like just very straightforward.
Okay.
But, he's like, you're going to Iowa, like you're going to replace Tori Taylor and, you're going to do great, whatever. I can't remember the whole conversation, but, I brought my dad in. It was a pretty surreal moment. Like, I was shaking in my bed and dad was, anxious. So yeah, basically gave me the whole rundown of what will happen and said that Coach Woods wants to come down and see me kick. And then, that's pretty much it. I sort of, knew that, okay, I've got a school now. Now I can sort of focus on that, And then, months later, Coach Woods comes down and then, I was over here.
That's amazing. What were I remember we talked to Tori about his first impression of Coach Woods and he's like, he was like, what did he say?
Are they all this big?
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
what
scary
was your
dude.
impression? Yeah. But also like the nicest guy ever.
Yeah, very genuine dude. Yeah.
Right. What was your first impressions of him when he came down?
Yeah, big dude. I think he needed some, he had to buy some clothes because I think his suitcase got stuck in the on the plane or it went the wrong way. I don't know what happened, but he didn't get his suitcases with him. But yeah, anyways, so the next day he came down to practice and watched me punt. So yeah, he just seems like a really family orientated dude. And I've definitely sensed that, like coming into the special teams room, like everyone's really close. And like Coach Woods just seems like like a father figure almost. Like, he's very cautious of my well-being and always looking out for me. Also, coaches me hard when he needs to.
Right.
Like I got yelled at after the halftime at Troy. The first two punts, I didn't, one got returned and then the first one I didn't really like. So, he coaches me when he needs to. And, he's very straightforward and, he wants, just wants the best for me and wants me to be the best that I can. But yeah, he's a really, really good dude, and yeah, I'm really happy to be coached under him. Yeah,
it kind of sounds similar to, and I know off air you said like wrestling isn't a big thing, but there's a really good wrestler that coached at Iowa. His name was Dan Gable, and I was talking to Mark Ironside before Friday. This would have been like 2020,
okay,
something like that. And I was talking to him, and I was like, "What made Coach Gable such a good coach?" And he said he knew the line between friend and coach.
Yeah.
And I feel like Coach Ferentz has kind of set that culture up to be that way. Kind of like, I mean, that was one of the main reasons I committed, was because it's a family type atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's like, we want to bring you in and do the well-being, but because I want to do that, I expect you to work hard for me. It's kind of like it's a cultural thing.
Yeah.
It's not transactional, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yep. And Coach Ferentz is, really nice coach, and always says g'day in meals and when I walk past him. And yeah, Coach Woods just, wanted to make sure that, there's a line between the friend and coach. But, it gets bent every now and then. Like, we have a lot of banter in our, do you know what banter means? Like, that's just like joking around. Yeah.
Yes.
I wasn't sure if that was just an Australian thing.
No, you're good.
There have been a few things you've said that I'm like, I don't know, I'm gonna let that one go. But that one I do know.
Yeah, so a bit of banter in the room. We have a little fine system going, like, doing stupid stuff on the field. We joke around with Coach Woods, like if he makes a spelling error on the film, like,
Sure.
we joke around a fair bit, but there's also, we get serious. We have to get serious in meetings and whatnot. So yeah, very friendly place to be. Even on the practice field, like, no one really gets real angry at you, like, for messing up. And he's like on the field, like, he doesn't drill me if I've like just gotten off the field after a poor punt. Like, he helps me work through it and like work to improve it, rather than just, yell at me. And, I don't feel like that's the best way to be coached, is just to get yelled at, work through the bad stuff and, try and improve off it. And yeah, that's just, a very family orientated place. I love it.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And that goes with like a lot of the answers we've got from guys of like the feeling of the culture or why they committed and that kind of thing. So completely makes sense. Also, something about punters that I never really noticed until this past week, which I should have totally noticed, is the different pads that you guys wear. Shoulder pads.
Oh, really?
They're different.
They're just a little smaller.
They're small.
Yeah, I mean,
you're not getting hit.
No.
Well, if you are, you flex on them. But like,
it's for more maneuverability. Like, say, I don't know, we get a high snap, you got to be able to reach up there. And
right.
I think just the looser, lighter feel sort of, makes you feel a bit more confident and like less tense. I don't really know, but yeah, I think I might be wearing the same pads as Tori did. Okay. So
gotcha.
Yeah, it's just a looser feel. Yeah.
What kind of shoes do you wear? Or what kind of cleats? I mean,
Boots.
Sorry.
Boots.
I've transitioned from Nike, not VaporMax.
Well, I mean, are they technically football cleats, or do you wear
soccer cleats?
Soccer cleats? Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
Nike. I forgot the name of them.
I was mostly just wondering if they were soccer or football.
Yeah, well, I've changed to Nike Tiempo, which are soccer cleats.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And
which makes sense.
But are they a little like? So
they're thinner.
They're thinner, so that doesn't hurt your foot to kick the ball. No. These are really dumb questions. But just out of curiosity,
the laces are also different on soccer cleats, right? Like they're not straight down the middle. It's kind of like a curved. Is that true? Or maybe that's just some styles.
I have no idea. I think it's the same. I mean, I wear wide receiver cleats to run around and do speed work in, and then I wear my normal football boots, and it's like they seem the same. I don't know.
Maybe it was just a certain style that I was looking at. But
yeah. But there's typically leather is the the ones that I wear are leather punting boots, whereas the other ones, I don't know what material they are, but they're a lot more like, I don't know, slippery. Like I don't know. I feel like I can get more grip with the leather, so that's why we wear.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Do you wear a different helmet too? Like, does your face mask look different than everyone else's?
He doesn't have the single bar. It's not like it's that old.
What do you mean?
Like the old school punters used to only have one bar, but that's not.
Gotcha.
I have no idea. I mean,
He wears a
I used to
standard.
wear like the very smallest like guard,
Yeah.
whatever you call it,
Face mask.
face
yeah.
mask. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to a bigger one just because I thought it looked a bit weird with the big gap in between the top and the bottom. But
sure.
I might go back just so I can see more. I don't really know. I mean, I really couldn't care less what face guard I wear.
That's what I was waiting on.
Yeah.
I mean, these are things I pay attention to. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not really looking at how far the ball goes or
Yeah.
what's happening with the gunners. I'm just wondering, like, oh, his pads look different than everyone else's.
No, the biggest thing I care about is just leg pads, leggings not being too tight, and can I move my arms, and that's
Gotcha.
pretty much all I worry
The
about.
aesthetics, the functional. That's kind of how we go together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Cool. Well, then you've got obviously bye week coming this week, and then headed to Ohio State. So it'll be your second game on the road. I've heard some good things about that stadium. Did you ever get to play there?
Yeah, we played there in 13. We had an opportunity to win the game. Unfortunately, we weren't able to pull away there at the end. But I want to say it was like a 1-score game.
I mean, I'm talking about the stadium. Is it a good stadium? Like, what to expect?
I was thinking about the game. The stadium was nice. There's not many away games that I like more than. There's no away game that I like more than Kinnick. Ohio State's fine.
Does
I mean,
loud?
it's.
Does it get loud in there?
Yeah. I mean, every stadium gets loud. I mean, Ohio State,
Right.
they're going to be there. But like Minnesota, their old stadium used to crack me up because their fans would just roast us while we were sitting on the sideline.
Oh, because they were so close.
Because they were so close.
Right.
They would just like talk about this guy's bald spot or like something like just pointing from the, like really funny. But Ohio State's like, it's a good stadium.
Yeah.
But it's not like Michigan that like goes all the way up or like our north end zone like that. There's no other stadium that's like that, at least that I've played in.
What was your first game in Kinnick like? What was that experience like for you?
Like the Back in Black, Swarm, like all that kind of stuff.
You know what? I didn't hear the Back in Black song.
Really?
I don't know why. I don't think I was thinking about it. I
You
was
were so locked
sort
in.
of, like just thinking about, I'm about to walk out in front of, 70,000. But, the Swarm, I was nervous walking out. Like I looked over to, our teammates, and then I looked out in the crowd. Like it was phenomenal. Like I was like, shit, yeah, like this is awesome.
Yeah.
A little bit different than practicing a pro kick, I'm sure.
Right. And then, I walked out there. I was out there for a while, and the nerves sort of went away after like 15 minutes. Warmed up in the little pregame punt thing, and then first punt was I got nervous again. Like, oh shit, I got to go here, and then went out there. Wasn't the best kick, but like after looking at it, like it's my first ever game in college football, and then in front of all these fans. So, I mean, it was an awesome experience. Never played in front of more than 1,000 people. So
yeah, it's a little different when you go in front of 70.
A bit different to local footy back home. But awesome experience, and fans seemed unbelievable, and I love it.
Was there, and we talked to Coach Woods about this briefly, is that they wanted it, they meaning you and Tori, wanted it to be 9-9. Because I thought it was crazy that you got Tori's number right after he left. I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm weird. She says I'm weird because I got to think about numbers. But like there's a certain reason why guys wear numbers. Yeah. But the fact that you got 9 right after Tori, like was that really a conversation you guys had of like, I want to carry this number? Or is it like, I'll just take whatever?
Well, Tori asked me if I wanted it. And then I was like, yeah, sure, that'd be awesome.
Like that was
That's
it?
just it. Yeah. Like, he sent me a text, and then it just worked out. I think I don't think it was locked in at that point, but equipment stuff were cool, and then wearing them.
The fact that you're so nonchalant about it is crazy.
I think it's the punter's number now, I guess. That'd be cool.
Huh.
That makes sense.
That's really cool. Okay, final question. Just when, Like we talked about kind of the punting is winning shirts and just kind of like even like the MVP and all that kind of stuff, the Heisman stuff. Like everyone just really loved Torrey. And for a place, and all of the like commentators on like ESPN, Big Ten Network were always like, man, Iowa really loves their punters.
Yeah.
Like it's so unique that a punter would have that experience. Like coming into that, I mean, that's got to feel pretty good, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just knowing that you're going to be kind of like beloved by the fans.
Yeah.
Even before you even got here, I think when everybody heard like, oh, we're getting the guy that's coming from Australia too. Oh, thank God. You know what I mean? Like everybody I think was really excited about that. Like that had to feel pretty good for you, right?
Yeah. Yep. And I feel, again, I feel like there's no other place just like Iowa where they, celebrate the punter. So coming in, I felt very, comfortable and like, I thought I'd be liked and, no one really, I didn't think, people won't give it, shit about me just running out in the field. So, I felt pretty welcomed coming in. And like just listening to the like Jumbotron say my name and then hearing a few people like get excited.
I noticed that like, too. First game. I was like, oh, they're all cheering for him. Like, great. Welcome. Welcome home, buddy.
And then in the spring game, I had a couple of good punts and then it was like people got up and about, like just if it was inside the 10. So I was like, oh, it's getting loud just from that. So I felt like this is a good spot for a punter to be at, like just in the fact that, with Coach Woods and then all the fans that, appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Rhys, we are so excited that you are a Hawkeye. And again, we're just so grateful that you came in today, took time out of your schedule. And it was so great to get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I appreciate you guys having me in.
Absolutely.
It was a great time.
And definitely, I would say Pro Kick. I don't know much about them other than they gave us you and Torrey, but they got a handle on like where you're going to fit in for the culture. You scream Iowa. So we're just so glad that you are here.
That's good to hear. Thank you.
All right. Best of luck the rest of the season and obviously the rest of your career. And we hope to have you back in the next couple of years for another interview.
Of course. Yep. Sounds good to me.
All right. Thanks, Rhys.
Thank you.
Locally owned and operated, Performance is a full-service restoration company serving Eastern Iowa.
As an IICRC certified firm, their multi-licensed technicians have decades of experience in water, mold, and fire mitigation. Whether it's your home or business, this is the team you want in a time of need. Performance Restoration, 319-626-2292.
Hey Hawk fans, looking for the perfect spot to fuel up before or celebrate after a Hawkeye win? Look no further than Marquee Pizzeria, located in the vibrant Iowa River Landing.
Their wood-fired pizzas have truly changed the pizza game.
Whether you're cheering on the Hawkeyes or just searching for a delicious meal, Marquee Pizzeria is the place to be. Swing by and experience the best pizza in Iowa. Go Hawks.
When it comes to keeping our home comfortable, we trust only the best. Loudon Plumbing and Heating. Whether it's fixing a leaky sink, keeping the house cool, or making sure the furnace runs smoothly in winter, Loudon Plumbing and Heating is our go-to. For reliable service, trust the corridor's best. Loudon Plumbing and Heating.
Looking to make a splash online in Eastern Iowa? Digital Boost is your local go-to digital marketing agency. They help local businesses connect with their ideal customers online.
Digital Boost has a diverse client base, ranging from small businesses to industry leaders, including well-known brands like DNR Pest Control and Advanced Millwork.
Visit their website at www.digitalboostia.com to learn more or contact them for a free in-person consultation. So, Matt, we are taking on the Ohio State Buckeyes this week. How are you feeling about it?
I mean, anytime you get to face a top 5 opponent, I mean, really a Big Ten opponent, really a game because you only get 12 guaranteed opportunities, right? Media, whatever. But when you get to go into an environment, top 5 opponent, it's a pretty cool place to be if you're a competitor.
Yeah. I've actually never been to their stadium. Did you ever get to travel there?
Yeah, I played there in 2013.
How was it? You guys get whooped? I'm just asking.
That's how you're going to open it?
I'm just asking.
Are you kidding me? No, it was a close game.
Okay.
We were actually up going into half or slightly after half. We were pretty close. Doozy actually ran, Jake Doozy, number 87, tight end, ran right by one of their corners. It was one of the games, I'm blanking. I think he was a first round corner for Ohio State, like got a targeting call on CJ Fedorowicz early and left the game. But it was a pretty close game.
Huh. Very cool. How was it?
It was fine.
Nothing of note about the stadium. Nothing crazy cool.
It was
I guess that was almost 11 years ago.
Don't.
old.
Don't,
That's
are
so
you
crazy.
You're older than me.
By like a few months.
Yeah.
Relax.
Yeah, you're old.
What do you know about the Buckeyes? Why they're called that? Do you know anything about it?
I know it's a plant. That's about all I got.
Kind of. So, oh wait, here's my question. You've been saying the wrong name of the mascot this whole week.
Yeah.
Do you know his name?
No.
What did you think it was?
I know it's not Bucko. I don't know it's not Bucky.
Bucko. I wish it was that. It's actually Brutus,
Yeah, I knew that.
which is a good name. I like that name for like a dog. Do you?
It's fine. Just get to your stuff.
Sorry.
Make me look dumb
Just
for all
trying-
my friends.
A really funny way to say it. So they've been called the Buckeyes since 1950. And there was like this really long story on like, I was looking on the like Ohio State, the official, like their official website.
Which is where usually where you start, right?
Usually, you know, sometimes Wikipedia gets a hold of me and we just really run with it. And you never know what you're going to find. But those are some of the funner stuff. Either way, there's like this really long explanation as to why they're called the Buckeyes. And it was like dated back to like a really long time ago, like 18 something.
So you didn't take the time to read it.
I didn't. It was so boring. It was just like this guy that went to this thing and it was like a really long time ago. It was like this guy from Ohio and he was like really big in stature. And like, I think it was like Native Americans were calling him Buckeye, like because he was as big as a Buckeye tree. So it is a plant, but it's actually a tree. And so that's and then he like brought that back to the state of Ohio.
Okay.
So I totally could have botched that. Somebody in the comments is going to be like, actually.
I can hear it now.
I know. So that's what I saw in summary. But in 1965, there were two students that were like, hey, actually, I think we need to have some sort of mascot. Because I'm pretty sure what we're finding is around like the 60s, 70s, something
There's the mascot movement.
People were starting to have mascots and they were kind of going away from, at this time, it was like the live mascots. And so at first they're like, oh, we should bring in like a buck, like a deer. And rightfully so, Ohio State was like, you know, I don't think we're going to do that. So anyway, they decided that they were going to like make their own mascot and they did it at a sorority house, I guess a little bit off campus. And the sorority came up with $50 and was like, here's $50, which back in 1965 might have been actually a decent amount of money. He was like, hey, here you go. You can make something out of paper mache. Good luck. So these students made this paper mache nut, which is the Buckeye, and they debuted it against Minnesota at the homecoming game in 1965. And then
Didn't get booed out or anything, right?
No, people were like all about it. They
There you go.
really like this nut. Okay. So then they realized pretty quickly that paper mache, which also looking into mascots, a lot of people did paper mache at first, and then they switched over to fiberglass, which is exactly what happened here because they realized that paper mache doesn't hold up very well in inclement weather.
Yep.
Can you imagine you're the nut standing out there and then all of a sudden you just start melting in yourself? That's so sad.
That looked like
so
the
sad.
saddest
I also
mascot.
really love referring to it as the nut instead of like the Buckeye. Like, oh, there's Brutus. Like, oh, nope, there's the nut. That's way better.
Okay.
Anyway, so then they got another $200 from, they called them the Staters, which I think that's like, it doesn't matter. They got another $200 to make a fiberglass one. And they actually kind of changed it up. And it was like this huge nut. And it was like they didn't have any arms, like their arms were inside of it. And then, well, it's like shaped kind of like a football. And they also put like a mouth on it that you could like change. So it was like if they like had the ball and they were doing good, and they would make it happy. And then if they were like the other team scored or whatever, they'd flip it around to make it sad, which actually sounds kind of funny because like every mascot just holds the same face all of the time. If you could like change the way that I'm just saying, that'd be kind of cool. We need like an animatronic Herky. That'd be amazing.
Animatronic.
Mm-hmm.
Laura.
I'm questioning if that's right now, but I'm pretty sure it is.
And that's why I said it, because I knew you'd question it.
So then throughout like the 1980s, all the way through to the 2000s, there were like different updates on the Brutus that we know now. They gave him like a more muscular build, like up top. But then they also left these like super slim fitting pants. They're like football pants with no pads in them. I'm not calling out your pants right now, but something like that. And he also wears a baseball hat, which I read this. So they had some like facts about Brutus, like down at the bottom. And you could totally tell it was like a funny, like snarky student that wrote them because there were some like goofy ones or whatever. And the baseball hat, it said that he wears the actual hat from Woody Hayes' first ever game that he coached at Ohio State. Which, if that's true, that's really cool. But I just don't know if that's true.
Right.
It might just be the same style.
Right.
You know? But anyway, then they also had on there, his height is 6 foot to 6'9". And it's a big range. And then I put this in quotes. It said, depending on if it rains. And I was like, what does that mean? I could not figure it out.
Because it grows in
because
the
the tree. Because it's supposed to be like a tree.
Yeah.
That's so embarrassing. I could not figure that out until just now. That's funny. Yeah, see what I'm saying? It was like a snarky, like funny student that wrote this. Clearly, I'm not as
Snarky.
witty as this person. But they're called the Buckeyes because it's the official tree of Ohio. And the nut itself is also called a Buckeye. And at first I was like, that's weird that the tree is called that. And then it's also the name of the nut. But then I was like, well, you call it an apple tree and it's also an apple that comes off of it. So kind of embarrassed myself there too in my own head.
That's a good start.
I'm
Nice
really,
preview.
I'm killing it. Killing it. And then the Buckeye resembles the eye of a deer, which is kind of where they came up with the idea
Gotcha.
of why they wanted to have the buck, the actual like deer, come into the stadium. But they say that carrying it brings good luck. So there's that.
Okay.
And also the leaves, you know, the
Yep.
helmet stickers that they have?
Yep.
They're just Buckeye leaves.
Yep.
They look a little bit like marijuana leaves, do they not? It's kind of an interesting choice. And I, like, as a kid, I was always like, what does that even mean? Like, why would you have leaves on there? It's not that exciting, but that's that.
There you go.
Do you ever wish that Iowa put the stickers on their helmets?
What would you do? Just a bunch of eyes?
We're Tiger Hawks.
So it'd be all black and then you put gold Tiger Hawks on there?
That'd be kind of cool. I'm saying, like, do you like the idea of stickers on a helmet?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I don't know. I kind of like a cleaner look.
I like a cleaner look. And I feel like if I was a guy that didn't have any stickers on my helmet, I would be sad to put my helmet on. Do you think that?
I want stickers too.
Like, you see these guys that come out and it's like just plastered, and then you put yours on and there's just plain. So there you have it. Brutus the Buckeye.
Brutus the Buckeye.
Mm-hmm.
There are worse mascots.
True. He's just a little nutty, you know?
It's even better at this take.
I know I've already said the joke. And then we had to redo it. So anyway, tell me about Ohio State, Matt. What do we have to expect here?
So top 5 team,
Mm-hmm. Who'd they play this past week when we had a bye?
Michigan State.
Okay, and how did it go?
Well, so the score was 38-7.
Yeah. But as you
Doesn't
like to
look
say,
great.
the score doesn't really show what happened in the game.
I mean, the score showed what happened in the game, but it's closer than 38-7.
People love to call you out about that when you make that quote.
Yes. Like, the score was the score. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, but like if you take away some key mistakes, and it's not like they just got bullied and that was it. Like that, yes, the score dictates it. Just like if a closer game, it's like, oh, it was 10-9, but really it was a lot different than that because they were, dominating the whole game. Like, I think the same thing. So 38-7, it's because Michigan State turned it over in the red zone twice before it was further than a 10-score game. So it was 17-7, 10-7. One was a pass, I think, to the tight end over the middle. He gets vertical. He's holding the ball out here. And for those that are just listening, away from his body. So there's 5 points of ball security. At least this is what I was taught. Fingertips. So the point of the ball goes to your middle finger. Then you lay it down into your palm. So it's laying flat. Then you cock your wrist down onto your forearm. Then you bring it to your bicep. And then you bring it to your chest. So your 5 points of contact. So fingers, palm, forearm, bicep, chest. That's where you should hold the ball for the most secure ball security. Tight end didn't do that. Tight end maybe did fingers, palm, forearm, but then was sideways. And so the ball was sticking out there. They rip it. Ohio State recovers. And that was going into the red zone, have an opportunity to score. And then the other one, quarterback lost it in the pocket. I think they were in like the 15-yard line, 10-yard line area. Quarterback lost it, another big time fumble. Like anytime it's a 10-score game and 2 fumbles near the red zone, like that to me shows that you were moving the ball, but you just couldn't finish. And then in the second half, Ohio State scores twice in the third quarter, and then there's no more scoring the rest of the game. So kind of an interesting, like, I don't want to say tale of two halves because I feel like I've been saying that for a while, but just like Michigan State's offense just couldn't get it going in the second half. But first half, they had an opportunity to really hang with them. They just weren't able to finish.
Were we watching, was it Ohio State Marshall? Or was that a different team?
Continue.
And remember in the beginning of the game, Marshall like marched right down the field and we were like, what is going on? Do you remember this?
I do.
Was it Ohio State Marshall? So it was in the end of September. It was Ohio State Marshall. And remember in the beginning of the game, they like Marshall went right down the field and scored. And we're like, what is going on? And then Ohio State obviously adjusted and the ending score was like 49-14 or something along those lines. But it's kind of interesting. Like Michigan State kind of seemed like they had like, whatever. Maybe Ohio State just has it figured out on how to make adjustments.
That and settling in. Okay. I mean, sometimes you're not used to exactly what you're going to see. And then again, you make adjustments, you settle in. We used to see this against Iowa for like the first drive or two, that somebody comes down, gets some quick points, and then it's like, all right, now that we're here, we're hitting, we're ready to rock, then it doesn't happen anymore. But as far as that, I think we can take advantage of that moving forward. Barring, I don't know who's all going to be back from injury. I know Seth Anderson was supposed to be close to coming back, so that would add even more depth to the wide receiver room. I'm not sure LaShawn Williams' status at this particular point. I'm sure we'll find out on Tuesday at KF's presser if he's in. So then Caleb, LaShawn, and Jazz, and then Kamari Moulton I know is held out against Minnesota. He might be able to enter the fray again. So I think there's going to be a lot of people ready to rock. Obviously, we know Caleb Johnson's RB1. He's should be the first, second, and third option probably in this offense, if not fourth. But they started to do some really good things against Minnesota that I think we can do against Ohio State. One thing Michigan State did as well is, and I kind of talked about how we played Minnesota, that we were tighter, trying to dictate what kind of coverage we'll get based on our formation. So when we're tight, inevitably corners are typically going to play off. They're not going to press you from out there. You can kind of say, all right, we're going to get quarters coverage most of the time when we go into this look, right? Michigan State actually did that against Ohio State. Now Ohio State played man and they did a couple other things, and they play a forefront, so it'll be helpful for our offensive line. But Michigan State was able to kind of dictate what they wanted to do, at least early on, because of just formation. They weren't trying to spread them out. They weren't trying to do anything crazy. Brought guys into the box and said, all right, well, we'll beat you from here. And they did have opportunities, but the biggest thing I think is understanding how we can use Caleb Johnson in the run game, and then having the wrinkles off the run game in the run game. So one run to set up another run, but then using both of those to set up the pass. A lot of the big plays that Michigan State had were play action. So I think utilizing that, we have to do it, and we have to take at least a shot or two to keep them honest. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by keep them honest is making sure that they're not jumping all of our short stuff. We're really good at the intermediate game, right? A lot of quick outs, hooks that are around 8 to 10 yard distance. We've thrown a bunch of tight end hitches on the outside when whether it was a Stranger or Lachey, kind of motions out into the far wide receivers position. We've hit them with a couple of hitches. We just can't let them sit there. So if we're able to dictate their coverage by going a little tighter on the formation and able to utilize kind of that mid to intermediate game, and then potentially like a Seth Anderson touchdown week 1 of 2023 and out and up, something like that, just lull them to sleep and then at least take a shot. We got to be able to push the ball down the field against these guys if we want an opportunity to stay in the game. I think Caleb Johnson, the run game, and the offensive lineman that we've talked to, they're going to keep us in the game. They're going to try and make it a less possessive game, which, do you know what I mean by that?
Like Ohio State doesn't possess the ball the entire game? Is that what you're trying to say?
And the number of possessions. So that's kind of the way the Iowa plays, is there are some teams that all about tempo. I want to have the ball 12 times this game, and we're going to try and score every single time. Well, when you have the ball 12 times, who else also has the ball 12 times? Your opponent. So it's like, okay, well, that's a lot of variability between how often you score, how often you don't. Iowa likes to play a possessive game where it's, we get 3 possessions, you get 3 possessions. Let's see who's going to be the best out of those 3 possessions, right? So a lot less, I guess it just makes each possession mean a little bit more, but it also means you're typically in closer games regardless of what the other team's capabilities are. Because if you're able to keep their offense off the field, most of the time, you're able to push down the field and score. And then the best they can do is just go score 2, right? But if you do that 12 separate times and you're going back and forth, there's a lot more punts, a lot more chances for blowouts because you've given them 12 opportunities, and let's say they score all 12 and you don't score any, next thing you know, it's 96-0. You know, not saying that that's how it would be here, but understanding that it's going to be a game of, okay, we only want this many possessions, so we're going to run the ball, we're going to drain the clock, and then you got to use that play action to open up the rest of it.
Gotcha.
Now their offense, I didn't even get to that.
Yeah, you went on quite the monologue there. It sounded good though.
Oh, thanks.
But their offense, I feel like their wide receivers usually aren't the biggest. If maybe I'm off here.
Yeah.
But they're usually like tall, skinny, really fast, can make crazy catches.
Define biggest, I guess.
Well, I mean, like to me, Iowa State always has really big, especially on the outside, wide receivers that are like,
you're talking stocky.
Like Brandon Smith
is
like a big, like that's a big wide receiver.
Right.
Like I can't think of Rhys Fandersee. It's a pretty big,
that's a big
wide receiver. But I feel like Ohio State, typically, like it's not always
not blanketed,
correct. But I feel like they've got some like tall, lanky, fast guys that can like make crazy catches. Is that
they
accurate?
have, yes and no. They've got like the Marvin Harrison Juniors.
Okay.
Now he's in the league with the Cardinals now.
Mm-hmm.
Dad was a Hall of Famer with the Colts, played with Peyton Manning. If you haven't seen Marvin Harrison highlights, crazy. But anyway, so like he's tall, skinny. He had some muscle to him, but tall and skinny and can move. But then they also had Jackson Smith and Jigba, who was like 5'10", 6 foot, somewhere in there. But shifty guy, just not super bulky, but shifty. They do have a really good freshman receiver. His name is Jeremiah Smith. Made a couple one-handed catches against Michigan State. He's the real deal. But at the same token, a lot of his stuff is like jump ball wins. You don't necessarily game plan for that. It's just like, all right, you have to beat him in that scenario, right? Michigan State kind of ran a little bit different. They ran like a 3-3-5, but they also ran like a 3-4, and then they bring 4 linemen up. They were giving them multiple fronts. Didn't look like they got a ton of pressure on Ohio State. And we typically don't blitz a lot, but I know Ohio State likes to really widen and go empty. They did quite a few times. They send the running back out on a motion that basically like he's running a flare. And what I mean by that is straight out from the quarterback. So he could catch and throw it right there. And it's like a screen on the outside just between the receivers and the running back. But it also forces our defense to loosen up the box. Now, their quarterback likes to run the ball. It's not something that, it's not something that they like hang their hat on as the quarterback run, but he's capable. Well, when you go empty, a lot of times that our defense and most defenses see is like, all right, there's 2 receivers over to the right. I want 3 guys over there to know I've got more. And then, oh, there's 2 receivers over to the left. Okay, I want 3 guys over there so I have more. So I can't lose to either of those. Well, now we're 6 guys and they're 4 guys. That leaves 7 guys in the box for them. And that leaves 5 guys in the box for us. Now 7 if you include the running back and the quarterback. But now if you send the running back out, are you leaving another guy, or are you going to take 3 over 3, or are you going to send your linebacker? So now you're 4 and 6 to keep the 4 over 3. I know I'm kind of getting into numbers here, but the whole point of it is defense likes to have 1 more guy than you do.
Okay.
And I feel like in some of these situations, it puts a guy like Sebastian Castro or Kyler Fisher in a really tough spot because you're saying, play the pass, but play the run. You have to be both. You have to be number 3 over 2, and you have to be number 7 over 7 in the box. So that way we can match if they want to run the football. So it's like an interesting spot for what that cash position is going to be, depending upon who that is. So I see like Kyler Fisher, Sebastian Castro, those are the 2 guys that have kind of rotated in there. That position itself is going to be very instrumental in what we're able to take away from Ohio State when they're on offense.
Okay. Do they make many mistakes?
Ohio State?
Yeah.
Not really. They're +5 in the turnover margin. They have fumbled it 5 times, but they haven't lost any of those fumbles.
Okay.
So they've always recovered it. Quarterback's thrown 2 picks all year, 8 touchdowns to 2 picks. So they're taking care of the football. But I think if we dial it up a little bit, get those front 4 guys, our front 4, like pushing back and getting some real opportunities, I think we're going to have a chance. But at the same token, it's a good outfit. This is a good football team, but an opportunity to go into somebody else's house that's top 3, walk away with it like that. There's nothing more that should get your competitive juices flowing than to shut up an entire like stadium that's not wanting you to win and expects to win. There's nothing to lose if you're Iowa because they're ranked top 3.
Right.
You just go in there and play free. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's interesting because I think sometimes people would expect the opposite. that when you're going into play a top 3 team, you'd be like nervous and jitters. But actually, it's like,
no, this is the best time. Like, this is when you get to show. Like, the whole thing is like, if you want to be the best, beat the best. And if you're going to have one of the top guys there, like, oh, Iowa's got playoff hopes, go show it. Let's see what it can do, right? Like, go compete. That's the best part about competing. I don't want to compete against somebody that I know I can blow out. I want to compete against somebody that I know is going to push me and give me an opportunity to show what I can really do against real top tier competition. And I think this is a real opportunity for that.
Cool. I like to hear that mindset. That's kind of fun. All right. Anything else that you can think of? They have a good punter. Is he from Australia?
I actually didn't look that up, if I'm going to be honest.
Matt, these are things that we need to know.
Well, I looked up the kicker. The kicker's only kicked 2 field goals all year.
Oh.
He's 2 for 2.
Let's see.
But there were 24 for 24 on extra points or something like that. He hasn't missed a kick. Okay, McClarty was the last one to punt. Punted 1 time.
1 time this year?
He's punted 4 times all year.
4 times all year. Wow. That's pretty amazing.
But Ohio State's, they normally have a really good punter that skies it and not going to give a lot of opportunities for returns. But that also means that if you're a daredevil like Caden Weegan and you don't mind potentially taking a pop, with how quick he is side to side, he might be able to make somebody miss and have a big job in the return game.
Interesting. All right. I don't know why I asked that question. We just didn't really talk about special teams. If there's anything to write home about, but apparently there's not.
Yeah. I mean, they're usually scoring.
Yeah. How far is the drive from here to Ohio State? Do you know?
No.
I don't know either.
Why do you keep asking these obscure questions?
I don't know. I think I've been watching like Theo Vaughn too much.
Yes.
He just like says whatever's in his mind.
Yeah, we're not Theo Vaughn.
I've actually driven to Ohio State 1 time because I was covering the wrestling Big Ten championships, and it was at Ohio State. Kind of interesting. Just if you were wondering. I don't know how far it is. Oh, 7 hours, almost 8 hours. That's drivable. I would assume we would travel pretty decent to go there.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else?
No.
All right.
We've already gone too long.
You think so?
Yes.
All right. Well, Hawkeye fans, thanks for joining us today. Sorry that we took so much of your time here at the end, but we're just so happy that all of you decided to join us again this week. We hope you loved our conversation with Rhys and got to know a little bit more about him, as well as our preview for Ohio State. We have so many other great interviews coming up. So in order to not miss any of those, you have to make sure that you are subscribed to our YouTube channel, Talkin Hawks. Just search it, find Talkin Hawks, the channel, subscribe, and then you won't miss a beat. We're also going to post things over, obviously, you guys know, on Estella's, the Taco-Bout network, but that's not going to have our full conversations. Our extended conversations and the full episodes will be found on the Talkin Hawks YouTube channel. Again, just make sure you're subscribing. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, to stay up to date on all of the good things and to see some of our funny reels, the little pieces of fun stuff that our producers always find in those conversations. All right. Thanks for coming back, and we will catch you guys next week. Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.